Hi everybody, welcome back to Apple Cottage. This is Sandy and I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. Well, I'm sitting at my computer desk and I'm uploading a video for Patreon. I don't know if you knew that I had a Patreon channel, but I do. And it's different than my YouTube channel. I mean, I do upload YouTube videos that I think are interesting that I've done, and I upload them to my Patreon. But on my Patreon channel, I am very focused differently, we'll say. Not that I don't talk about my gardens, because I think those are important and those are things that make you very self-reliant and self-sufficient and self-sustaining. But I also go into a lot of things that I don't do on my YouTube channel. And example, coronavirus. I have mentioned it a couple times on my YouTube, but I don't go into depth of that. I have always been on the philosophy that it is your responsibility, your responsibility to take care of yourself, to take care of your wife, your husband, your children, extended family, if that means your parents or siblings, and also be aware of the people around you. I've been watching some old videos. They were done, I think, in 2012. They are survivors of the 1918 influenza. And they interviewed them because all these people were children at the time. Some of them, I think the youngest one I watched, they were 3, but there were things that they remembered. It was really interesting, the people that were from ages 5 to 10, because they actually had to do things. And it was very insightful of how they helped their neighbors and their other family members, because for the most part, the people that they interviewed, the hospitals were a long ways away, and there might be one doctor in their town, and how they helped each other, and how this one gal, she was 10 years old when the influenza flu was happening, and no one in their family got sick. And they were the only family in the entire town that didn't get sick. And I think she said there was over 200 people that lived in their little town. And every morning before breakfast, their mom would they would take the water and put 1 teaspoon of baking soda in there. And they drank that before they ate their breakfast. And what baking soda does is it literally raises your pH level. And that was probably what made them not get the influenza virus. But because they didn't get it, they were basically feeding all kinds of people. And she said that her father tilled up this whole area. I think she said it was about a 1/4 acre. And he planted sweet potatoes. And the whole town ate off of those sweet potatoes. And the mom would make soups every single day. And she said she remembered how on the wood stove there was always canning jars. You know, they were sterilized, and she would put soup in there, and this little 10-year-old girl had to go deliver them to all these people in town. But she never went inside the houses. She would knock on the door, put them down, and leave, because her mom didn't want her getting sick, of course. But I thought that was just so fascinating with all of the stories that I've watched so far of how they were aware of their neighbors. Are we going to be aware of our neighbors, or are we just going to close ourselves off and not even want to think about that, not share our stuff, not help our neighbors? We need to be able to help our neighbors. You have to be careful. You have to be mindful. You need to be protected, but you need to help your neighbors. So on my Patreon channel, I go a little more in depth of things like this. I tell people what we've been purchasing, why we've been purchasing, those kind of things. And you might ask, why am I doing that differently on Patreon than I am on YouTube? I think I want to build a different type of audience, and things that I think that you can't be as free as on YouTube, you can on Patreon. And it's just a choice. It's just something that I do. But I've watched the numbers on the virus, and it's very interesting, disheartening, concerning sometimes. Not yesterday, but the day before, in the morning, there was 108 cases in the United States. By last night when I went to bed, there was 233. Now they said when they watch the virus as it's gone through some countries, because the United States is 2 to 3 weeks behind the other countries, it has doubled every day or every other day. And some of the countries are still just really, Italy, South Korea, their numbers are still going so high. I'm seeing that in Germany and France and the United States now too. Even though we are not testing like we should be testing, that is very disheartening. I find it, we should be like South Korea and be testing by the tens of thousands. One of our girls, she lives in a large city, and she's had the flu, a cold. Well, her work won't let her come back to work until she goes and gets a test done, because they're just trying to be safe with the rest of the people. And she totally understands that. So she's been out for a whole week, and she does think it's just the flu. But I said, I think this is a good thing. I think you should, your company is wise to make you do a test before you go back. And I think it's good just so you know. And if you were around people, she's married, she has a husband, you wouldn't want him to have the chance of having that also. So in our world today, it's interesting, it's challenging, but as I always say, our humanity is so important. So now, before things happen, look around to who your neighbors are. Where, if you don't have any family around you, who can you still help if things are bad in your area? One of our other daughters, she works at a huge hospital in a very big city. And not at her hospital, but the other 2 hospitals in that city have cases of coronavirus. And so they're giving them updates every single day. If they have to self-quarantine, the hospital is going to pay them their regular wages, which I find fantastic, because they want to protect their people. And my prayers just go out to everyone that this is affecting. And I hope you are wise, you prepare, and you're able to share. So always buy some extra stuff so you can help. And making soup can just really stretch your food. That way you can feed you and your family, and you can share with your neighbors, because maybe they don't have that possibility, and you could be that bridge between life and death. So this is Sandy. I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. If you're so inclined, hop over to Patreon. There's a lot of my YouTube videos that anybody can watch. And then there's the Patreon. I'll see you again.